guys, it's been a few days since I did a video. It's been a little bit busy, but there's a new update from Cliff High, Webbot owner, regarding the November 8th through 12th point of potential for the next disastrous, most impacting event to humans to come in a long time. Basically, the date has changed just slightly, barely, and he just did the latest run. The most recent data that he's been looking at. Basically, it's from the 5th of November to the 14th of November, so it really hasn't changed that much. And even so, when I saw the date 8th through 12th, I always say plus or minus a few days. I always say that because I know that you're always safe that way, and it's close enough. And people have been asking me lately, what were those dates exactly? When do you think? And I said, well, basically November 6th through the 14th. So I'm going to read you this. This came out today. The new tipping point numbers. All of the numerics of our work change with each new data analysis run. This is the nature of dynamic radical linguistics. Knowing this, we have kept the spider programs focused on data gathering as the planet is moved closer to the tipping point at which building tension language shifts suddenly to release of tension language. In spite of attempts at some level of officialdom to derail our process or our progress in procedures, they have been effing with us pretty seriously here at Half Past Human. We have been able to keep the spiders out and about, and I have just, November 3rd, too damn early in the morning, finished the examination of the numerics and the sums. We have new conclusions to report. The new information comes in the form of some date changes and two significant alterations to the release language period. First, the date changes. The emotional tension level plateau has grown. It had been previously forecast to start on the 8th, but now shows as beginning on November 5th, 2010. Further, the plateau of building emotional tension now extends out further to the 14th of November instead of the 11th or 12th, whatever. This is the last building tension to accrue. Expect the level to stay maddeningly the same until the breaking point. Repeat, the break in the tension values that indicates the tipping point after which we, the planet of humans, is into emotional release language starts on or about November 14th. Repeat, tipping point starts on 11/14/2010. Again, plus or minus a couple days. So we have had conditions alter such that the plateau is now starting earlier and lasting nearly 3 days longer. This relates to the timing of the shift into release language. Now we need to concentrate on the slightly more complex nature of the release period that follows the tipping point. There have been several changes in the numerics associated with the release period. First is that the rate of decrease of the numerics is faster than previously forecast. This is to say that the angle into the release language will be steeper. So, for regular humans, the important point is that the emotional response to the period will be more intense levels of release language. Yet another way to think of it is that more words expressing deeper levels of emotional turmoil will be assaulting you with greater intensity. Or yet another way, you will need to exercise your personal lexicon harder to come up with words to express your level of emotional response to the manifesting circumstances of these upcoming days. Whatever the hell that means, must be pretty darn serious. Whatever this event or events is, from the dates of approximately November 5th through 14th, in which maybe something builds up and then the 14th is release language or whatever, man, it's got to be huge. I mean, this can't be something where we're like looking for news on the internet. I wonder if that was it. You know, I wonder if it was a statement the Federal Reserve said a few days ago. Not going to be that. So the descent into release language starts a few days later and is steeper or deeper, which basically means it is forecast to be a bit more intense than first thought. Further, we need to note that the release language now has two alterations to its path. Previously, we had thought that the release would be more or less down to about January 23rd of 2011, without any let-up or alteration of the rate of release language expression. However, the data analyzed this morning shows that a minor small plateau shows up on January 1st, 2011 that starts at about 5 a.m. Pacific time and lasts for nearly 25 hours until about 6 a.m. on January 2nd. During the 25-hour period, the data shows that while the language still is within the release of emotional tension type, its rate of emotional release value sums virtually drops to zero. So kind of a hang time. This small respite of slightly over 1 solar day is abruptly shifted back to the release language value decrease rate, as though without pause on January 2nd, 2011. This rate then continues unabated for 5 additional days until January 7th, at which point becomes really accelerated, or an increased angle of descent, as the rate of numeric value reduction nearly doubles. Stated another way, the levels of release language, already very severe, and in continuous streams since November 14th, nearly double in a very rapid fashion over mere hours, maybe an hour, on January 7th. It says 1.12 hours, basically 1.1 hours, on January 7th at about 5 a.m. Further, this increased rate of emotional release language persists for an additional 23 hours until 4:30 a.m. on 8th of January. Then, the rate of release language goes back to its previously experienced levels, which, while steep, are not as intense as the January 7th to 8th purge of anguish. The rate of, and maybe what I'm gathering from that statement, if you're being raped and stabbed at the same time, they stop raping you, and they stop raping you for a moment and then go back to just stabbing you. That's kind of what I'm gathering from this. That's a, analogy, if you will. Like, you're being raped and stabbed to death. Okay, they stop raping me, but they're still stabbing me to death. And that's kind of what they're saying, I guess, could be the shift. Whatever happens in November, next few days, or up until the 14th, whatever, 15th, 16th, thereabouts, will be devastating. And then after that, come January 7th and 8th, something quickly gets worse and then goes back to the level it was already at. That's what I'm gathering here. The rate of release language continues at its original pace until January the 17th, when the first of any building tension values appears after 63 days. This is not, in bold letters not, this is not a good sign, as the mega sunspot cycle has its next active day for solar eruptions on January 18th, which is basically a day later. And if the activity levels of October 24th through 28th are any indication, we can expect major Terra intrusions on that date or thereabouts, and to continue for a few weeks afterwards. So basically, things have changed but remain mainly the same. For the mind-controlled human, all things are either a curse or a blessing. For the aware human, all things are merely challenges. Note, challenging times just around the next temporal bend. Time yet remains to pie up and have a good nap. Likely, this is the last update prior to the tipping point on 11/14/2010. So, that is a little update I got for you. Came out today. And, of course, I'm just reporting. So, what to do with the information. There's another video I saw today. I've already seen most of the clips that they put in there, except for the last one. and I'll kind of tell you what it is, and then I probably will attach the video, you know, where I downloaded it from, which was another YouTube user that put them all together, did a real good job. I might as well attach it to my own video. I may want to urge you to get, you know, if you have a computer, regular Windows XP, Windows 7, Windows Vista, whatever you got, it has Internet Explorer. You open up Internet Explorer, you go to YouTube, you watch your videos. If you can go download Firefox, once you get Firefox and you open up Firefox as your browser, you can search for a toolbar, I think it is, and I think it's called Download Manager. And I better check that before I upload this video. I think it's called Download Manager, but I can't remember. Anyways, I'll tell you what it is when I remember, and put it in the video. Or excuse me, Download Helper. I think it's Download Helper. You add this add-on very quickly. It's easy. It's free. And when you go to video sites like YouTube, and you hit play on a video, as soon as you go to that video and it starts playing, you will see a little thing at the very top of your browser in Firefox, and kind of to the left, and I think it's 3 little colors, kind of like in a triangular shape, and it starts like blinking to let you know, hey, we recognize you're playing a video. It starts blinking. You click on it, and then you'll see a drop down of the different versions or qualities of that video. It doesn't really matter which one you pick, it's up to you. But once you click it, it actually will download the video to your computer. So, at the same time, since I'm on that subject real quick, to go back into sheeple mode for you, if there's a very nice song you like to have as an MP3 or you want to put on a CD, you can go to YouTube, find that kick butt video, high quality, download it, go online and look for like a converter tool, you know, free, like video to MP3 converter. Search for that, convert it to an MP3. You can't get busted for using LimeWire, you can't get busted for file transfer. You simply got it off of YouTube. There's no way to track that. Anyways, that's not what the point of this is, but I did have to get sheepish on you real quick. But, back on track, you download the video. This will keep it on your computer. Should the internet go down, should the cyber attack, right, the fake cyber attack nonsense that you know they're going to pull on us, should that occur here in the next few days, and oh my god, the cyber attack was brutal, all the videos on YouTube got erased, right, oh, oops, you will have some videos. Download your favorite videos urgently, quickly, including this one, because today's date is November 3rd. I already downloaded the video I've told you about, that I'm about to tell you about, with these clips this guy put together, and I made sure I videotaped the video playing on my computer, but first going to Google and searching for today's date, seeing a few results come up, click on each of them to prove today is November 3rd. Next one, today is November 3rd, 2010. And then I've minimized those, immediately open my video, which is the video I'm telling you about to tell you about. That way, if I ever have to show this video to maybe law enforcement or people that you really would want to be on your side when the next false flag happens, people that really need to be awakened, they can say, well, how do I know you didn't make that video after the fact? Well, here's proof, and not to mention, you can look at all of the stuff they put together. These are already movies that have already been out. Go look at them. That didn't change. Anyways, I'll start with how it starts off real quickly. It starts off in 1997. There's a Simpsons episode where Lisa Simpson has a magazine, and on it they zoom into it and it says $9. Right next to it is a background kind of New York City, and the Twin Towers are there. So it's 9, and then right next to it 11, 9/11. Twin Towers are the actual 11. And then Bart Simpson puts a bunch of money in front of the screen there while they zoom in, and then it backs out. That was 3 years in advance of 9/11. Coincidence? Maybe. Fine. Maybe it was. That's fine. The next one, 6 months before 9/11. A show comes out called The Lone Gunman. It was some kind of spin-off of like the X-Files or something. The Lone Gunman. And it starts off with these 2 agents. I think one's like the guy's father or something, or his mentor. And basically he's telling him, the old guy is saying, look, it's time for a false flag. We need to put they're going to end up putting a plane in New York and blowing it up. And he goes, well, if these terrorists are going to do that, then, you know, why are they trying to kill you? He goes, well, that depends on who the definition of terrorists are to you. In other words, it's the government. And he's like, oh. So anyways, they get on the plane trying to figure out where's the bomb, can we disable it, whatever. They're flying, come to realize it's remote controlled, there's no pilot in the plane.